Hi, the second part of how to spot an infiltrator. Fair use, it's for educational purposes. Not that it applies to me because I'm not a person, I'm a man. Number one, there's a few of these, so it might be into two parts because I think there's 60 odd of them, so I'm going to break it down into two parts. I've already done the first part down to here. It's a list. It's not intended to create paranoia or sow divisions among people, among individuals. It's to create awareness around behavioural traits of people who are there to report back to either these big businesses who've got a lot to lose or governments and stuff like that on the plans and activities of whatever's going on. It's just to put this out there so people can try and discern for themselves, basically, and don't fall into any traps or anything else. A bogus activist or agent appears out of nowhere but becomes a best friend very quickly, ensconcing themselves into the targeted / movement, whatever it is, seamlessly. They are quick learners and start to speak the language of the movement in a short space of time. Their hairstyle and clothing quickly changes to adapt to the going trends. Not long after they arrive on the scene, something calamitous happens, which injures the solidarity between members irrevocably. The bogus activist is usually at the centre of organising actions around the calamity. It is through this that this individual's role. No, they're not even. They're a person. I'm not going to call them an individual. This person's role is created and endorsed in the movement or whatever's going on. It doesn't have to be a movement, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be a movement, it could be anything else. They have come with a mandate, so they gravitate to and befriend people whom they can use to fulfill this mandate. They look for the most vulnerable in this so-called group and reach out to them, helping them with their material needs such as shelter, food, a shoulder to cry on, and lifts to direct action. They use flattery, bolstering certain people's self-image by casting them as a potential leader and speaking of their leadership qualities. There is no leaders. We don't want leaders. Well, I don't want no leaders anyway, and I don't want to be a leader either. So, the more useful an individual can be to them, the more flattery they apply. Simultaneously, they encourage their friends to do outrageous things to prove these attributes. They set them up against other comrades, sometimes referring to others as agents. The more people they can pit against each other, the better their intervention. They hone in on vain people who clearly want social recognition and celebrity. I don't want none of that either. Don't give two hoots about any of that shite. They may help to fund these aspirant individuals' fame-seeking social media campaigns or connect them to people who can help. They encourage their proteges to use these social media platforms to launch vitriolic attacks on people who need to be silenced or destroyed by government. They encourage their unsuspecting foot soldiers to work in packs. This means attacking an individual target as a pack, preferably on a public platform. They themselves, where we've seen a lot of this before, I've seen this a few times in places on here. But discern for yourself. I'm not going to mention any names or anything like that. You have to discern for yourself. I'm not going to, what they call it. We know who we're on about. We know who it is. They themselves make suggestive comments, contradict themselves, and spin outright lies on public platforms so casually that many do not notice. It takes a certain skill to spread rumours as truth. They usually have high intelligence or are charismatic and play the role well, changing not only their dress code but also language and philosophy to suit the occasion. They are masters at mirroring the essence of the struggle and people who are genuine activists. Yeah, they can mirror it, but they can never be genuine. That's it. You can always tell. They display narcissistic tendencies and tend to name drop quite a bit. Their tweets are more about themselves, their endless inner musings and navel gazing, rather than the socio-economic issues of the people they claim to represent. Their educational history and work history is usually haphazard and not well presented. Not that that really matters. No matter who you are, what background you've got, what educational, so-called formal educational background you've got, because we know what education is and what it's based upon, so it's bullshit anyway. You better be in a, is it autodidactic, something, I can't remember how to say it now. Polymath, you know what I mean? It's your best thing. Self-taught, teaching yourself, learning yourself. Their Google profile is scant, but they start to build up an online profile via the movement. They disappear on many family duty trips or overseas trips. Not that you see the photos or hear about what went on much. They are able to creep right into the inner workings of the movement and lay claim to all sorts of internal good work. The mandate is to destabilise the struggle / organisation or whatever they're having to get involved with, and create mistrust amongst the people that are involved, the members and people that are involved. They hone in onto the topics that are of legitimate concern to people in the struggle. They pinpoint the most contentious issue and work with that, often building exaggerated constructs around the problem to create massive cleavages in the struggle. Yeah. Where once members were able to negotiate terms of engagement and debate the problems, not that this is up for debate. Objective reality is not up for debate. I've said that on countless occasions. Shouldn't be up for debate. There is no debate. You don't debate what colour the sky is. You don't debate what colour grass is. You don't debate whether if you put your hand in a flame, it's going to burn your hand. You don't debate that if you were to pour water on somebody, they're going to get wet. You don't debate that if you were to drop a 10-ton boulder on someone's head, it's going to crush them to death. You know what I mean? You don't debate objective reality. The problem is this person plays a big role in casting these issues as irreparable, and soon enough infighting replaces engagement. This means that the one side must be seen as victim to another side that is demonized. Yeah? See this a lot. Once the victim and demon narrative has been entrenched, the cracks begin to show. They spend a lot of time engaging their group and new recruits to prove their theory. This often involves their favourite form of narcotic and many late evenings sitting listening to them. They use every single available opportunity to push their unwavering and monolithic framework no matter what the occasion or the agenda. As such, even events that are focused on a specific agenda will be derailed if their framework has not been included in the agenda. If called out for derailing, they will gaslight you with this term and use it against you, denying that it is a derailing. Though everyone is indeed derailed, discombobulated, disillusioned and depressed at the end of the disruption with little will to continue the agenda initially planned. Job well done. That was the intention, no matter how loudly the agent and the minions claim otherwise. Because they make use of legitimate concerns to push their destabilisation agenda, it is very difficult to stand up to them. They know there is an outrage and fundamentalist moralism that comes with certain topics, and anyone who challenges this approach will be called an apologist, a denialist, or an assaulter. Let's just focus on that a second. says they know there is an outrage and fundamentalist moralism that comes with certain topics, like the shape, when it comes to the questioning the shape of the earth. They know there's going to be outrage and fundamentalist moralisms that comes with it and everything else from the people that believe they live on a globe and stuff like that. Yeah, these are the people that I'm on about that are doing flat earth debunking videos and stuff like that. They know this, so they play up on that. Yeah. And if you challenge that approach, you know what I mean? What you called a science denier, you're a denialist, an apologist, and you're assaulting them and stuff like that. And we also get that with these so-called flat earthers. You know what I mean? They're saying, no, you're assaulting them, you're denying what they're doing, and you're an apologist, you all this lot. You get all that all the time. This is called the weaponization of legitimate narratives for ulterior motives, and agents receive training in this field because it is so effective in breaking up unity in so-called movements and groups and other stuff like that. Like I said, a lot of these groups that have popped up, they're not natural groups. They've been set up as groups by these agent provocateurs and saboteurs and stuff like that and all this sort of stuff. They've been set up as groups by them so this can happen, so they can do this, so they can destabilise them, so they can bring it crashing down. Yeah. This is an injustice to those who develop sound theory, which is then warped for maximum negative impact and sold to young minds as truth. Yeah. So they're warping and using the snow job tactic and stuff like that, and warping everything and making it look a lot harder than what it is and stuff like that, bringing in all the irrelevant stuff. Well, it's relevant, but not to start off with. Do you know what I mean? It's all relevant, but what they're bringing out, all this snow job tactic and that, it's all relevant stuff and everything, but it's too much for people to like take in, and it like overpowers people, and they're like, oh no, and all this lot. You know what I mean? And they put in loads of rubbish, like these strawman fallacy, like maps and models of domes and ice walls and all this sort of stuff. All that stuff's put in there, yeah. For it's warped and that and everything else for maximum negative impact, and then sold on to people saying, "Oh, well, this is what it is." You know what I mean? And then people look into it further down the line, or other people look into it and think, "Well, actually, no, that's a load of rubbish." So then that flat Earth must be a load of rubbish because that's a load of rubbish. But believe in that so-called flat earthers believe in all that rubbish, but we don't. It's not about belief. There is no belief involved in objective reality. I don't care about your beliefs, your wishes, your dreams, your hopes, or anything like that. Yeah. No matter how many authentic overtures you make to them to engage on the contentious issue, workshop it, write manifestos and codes of conduct to deal with the issues, they will be turned down. It does not suit this agenda to solve the issue. The mandate is to make sure the problem is perpetual until it breaks the movement. This methodology is to spread chaos as widely as possible, not to create harmony. They have a clear adversary, and everything they do or ask you to do is to discredit or destroy their targeted adversary. The adversary is usually the group or individual that gets things done on the so-called picket line, can hold the masses together with impassioned revolutionary speeches and tie up the state in demonstrations and direct action for months on end. It's not about any of that anyway, do you know what I mean? But this is what these groups are trying to turn it into, this sort of stuff. It's not about, it's about the individual learning to discern for themselves, to be critically logical thinking and ask questions. That's all we're doing, asking questions. Don't make any claims, just ask the questions. Show me a practical demonstration. Yeah. I'm going to go from 50 onwards in the next one. I'm going to do one more straight away now, and I'm going to post them straight after each other. I'll leave a link in the description to all this. Like I said, it's fair use and all that, yeah. But that's it, yeah, for this one. Alright, thank you.